Hi, in this video we'll be looking at rounding decimals. It is, however, very important that we remember what our place value of our various numbers are. So this number before a decimal place is our units, or our whole number. The first number after the decimal place is in the 10th position, and the 4 is in the 100th position, and the 8 is in the thousandths of a position. All right. So we've got to keep that in mind when we are rounding decimals, because we will be asked to round perhaps to 1 decimal place or 2nd decimal place or 3 decimal places. So it's really important that we understand these numbers over here and their place value. So in this little graphic over here, we are asked to round this particular number to 1 decimal place. So we look at our number, which is 3.248. We need to round it to 1 decimal place, which is this position over here. However, we need to look at the next decimal, the number 4, which is shown over here, to see if that is greater than or less than 5. If it's less than 5, we don't need to do anything to that decimal over there. And in this case, it is less than 5. So the answer just simply remains 3.2. All right. In this next example, we have been asked to round 3.248 to 2 decimal places. So we look at our number, 3.248. We need to look at the 3rd decimal place to see if it is greater than or less than 5. All right. In this case, it is greater than 5. So what we need to do is add another 1 to the 4 to make it a 5. All right, so what they've done over here, 3.25. And that is to 2 decimal places. All right, so the really important thing when we're rounding decimals, and in fact rounding any number, is always go to the next decimal. Okay, go to the next decimal and see if it is greater than or less than 5, and then do what is necessary. Alright, well, we're going to have a little bit of practice with this decimal. 12.5618207754. And what I want you to do is I want you to round that particular decimal to 1 decimal place. Okay, and I want you to chart it and graph it on this particular number line. So where do you think it fits on this number line? Alright, put the video on pause and come back when you're ready to check if you got it right. Okay, how did we go? Well, we should have got 12.6. And how did I get that? Well, I'm looking at my decimal, 12.5618 and so on. But I need to round it to 1 decimal place. So there's my first decimal place. But I need to look at my 2nd decimal place, that number there, and see if that is greater than or less than 5. Well, in this case, it is greater than 5. So I delete it out, but I need to add 1 to the 5. Okay, so my whole number therefore is going to be 12.6 as my correct decimal to 1 decimal place. And of course on my number line, 12.1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So it is going to be in that position on my number line. So I'll just quickly draw it in. And if you did all that, well done. Alright, one more for you to do. I want you to round the number 12.5618207754. I want you please to round it to 3 decimal places. Alright, and I also then want you to see if you can put it onto this graph as well. Alright, put the video on pause and come back when you're ready to check if you got it right. Alright, well, looking at my number, that's my first decimal place, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Why am I looking at my 4th? Well, I've been asked to round it to 3 decimal places, but I need to always look at my 4th decimal place to see if that number is larger or less than 5. And in this case, it is larger than 5. So I can remove that particular number, and I'm just going to add 1, okay, on top of the 1. So that is actually going to become 1 plus 1 is 2. So my answer therefore is 12.562 12.562 is the answer, rounding it to 3 decimal places. Right, well now I need to plot this onto my graph, and I've divided my graph now into thousandths of a position, because I've got 12.56. My next number is 12.57. I've got 10 little lines over here, which tells me that each of these lines has to be in the thousandth of a position. Added to that, I know that my number that I need to graph, the decimal over here, is in the thousandth position. Okay. So I've gone 12.56, add 1,000th, gives me 12.561, add another thousandth, and so we go on all the way to the end, where we get 12.569, add one more thousandth, and we get 12.57. So my number 12.562 has to be somewhere in here, and clearly 12.562 is sitting over there. So if I graph it, I need to actually put my plot point over there, and that would be 100% correct. If you did all that and you got it all right, well, you won't have any problems with rounding decimals.